Hello everyone, I'm Audra Doyle at Doyle Law, and today I'm going to be talking with you about family-based green card applications, which are based on marriage to a U.S. citizen. So I get phone calls all the time from prospective clients who are either a foreign national or U.S. citizen. They have married someone and they're interested in filing for a green card to remain in the U.S. and be a family here. There's a lot of analysis that I have to do before I ever take a case to be sure that that case is going to be approved. And I'd like to share with you some of the issues that we see when we're dealing with immigration and these types of cases. The first question I like to ask to the foreign national is, how did you come to the United States? Because one of the underlying abilities for someone to get a green card is a lawful entrance to the United States. They have to have been admitted and inspected by Border Patrol or customs officers at the airport. If someone has an unlawful entry to the United States, I stop right there. If you have an unlawful entry to the United States, but you are married to a U.S. citizen, there are possible waivers that you could apply for, but it's not going to be a simple and straightforward marriage case. So let's presume that the foreign national really does have a lawful entry to the United States. The next thing I like to do is ask several questions to determine if we're going to have issues in several major categories. I like to ask the U.S. citizen how they became a U.S. citizen, because if they were not born in the United States, that means they must have naturalized. And it's possible that they were previously married, possibly to a U.S. citizen, and that's how they got their own green card and their own naturalization. Immigration is going to look at these issues as well because they're looking for fraud. Unfortunately, a lot of fraud happens with marriage cases, and immigration definitely knows about it. They have special units called fraud teams that go and investigate cases where they are concerned that the marriage is not real. So after I determine the U.S. citizen's own citizenship path, whether they were born here or whether they naturalized, the next thing I need to know from the U.S. citizen is about their financial situation. If I have a U.S. citizen who has no job and has not filed their taxes in the past few years, that is going to be a big problem with immigration, because they have to show that they can financially support their spouse and their family. If they cannot show this, immigration may think that the foreign national is going to become a public charge. And in the news recently, we've had a lot of changes to the rules for public charge. We are waiting for those rules to become finalized, but as of now, the Immigration Service wants the U.S. citizen to fill in a form called I-864, Affidavit of Support, and demonstrate how they can financially support their spouse. Failure to file taxes, chronic unemployment, or very low income currently are big problems for the public charge question. So now let's move over, and the next thing I like to do is talk to the foreign national, ask them some questions, and see whether they're going to have any issues getting that green card. The first thing I like to find out is whether they have had any troubles with the police, such as having a traffic ticket, being arrested, having a conviction, or being on probation. Any issues with the police need to be talked about, and I need to look at them carefully to make sure they're not going to harm this person's immigration case. I also like to see if they have ever had any problems with immigration, such as an immigration violation, visa revocation, or other issues with fraud or misrepresentation to the Immigration Service or to the government. The foreign national will also have to do a medical exam to determine that they are not having any serious health problems that are going to affect the American people. And they have to undergo biometrics, which is fingerprints, and immigration will conduct a background check and make sure that they are not going to be a national security concern to the United States. So once we've gotten through all those issues, looks like the U.S. citizen has not had any past immigration issues, looks like the foreign national, everything looks good with their case. The next thing I do is talk with the couple together. And I say, you have to show immigration that this is a valid marriage. What do you have that we can show immigration to demonstrate that you have a real and bona fide relationship? So I will ask detailed questions about their relationship. Immigration will want to know, how did they meet? Were they introduced? Did they meet online? They will want to know how long they dated, how they got engaged, where they got married, and if any of their family or friends attended the ceremony. And especially, are they living together? Now, we're in the year 2019, and we have a very dynamic workforce where people have to move all over the country for work. But if you are in a relationship that is going through the marriage case process with immigration, not living together could be a big red flag for your case. And that's something we need to really talk about and have settled before we file the case. So you may be surprised that there are so many elements to a marriage case. It seems like a simple thing. You get married, you file your paperwork, and your sweetheart from another country is able to stay in the U.S. and get a green card. But within all of those forms that you have to fill in are questions that relate to the questions I just mentioned in this video. And all of those issues need to be satisfactory to immigration, that there is not going to be a problem with this case before immigration will approve the case. Lastly, I tell the clients that everything looks good on paper. We should have enough to file a case and be approved, but they will have to go to an interview with an immigration officer. I will go with my clients to the interview and watch over them, make sure everything goes well. But the interview is the Immigration Service's chance to meet them in person and to get a read on their relationship. So the officer has been trained very well to determine if there is any fraud going on or if there are any issues going on that would stop the Immigration Service from issuing them a green card. I hope this information helps you and gives you a lot to think about with your marriage case, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.